The story starts when my brother, who collects Second World War related items, found in a street market near Essen in Germany 60 old photos. The photos had been shot in 1941 by a German soldier during the early stage of the Operation Barbarossa in Russia. These 60 photos tell us a story of a Wehrmacht soldier who fought in Russia during the German invasion of the Soviet Union. On the back of some of the photos there are writings in German language, always with the same handwriting, written by the soldier who took the photos. In one of the pictures there is a name, Karl. This one could be the name of the soldier. What was his division? For sure it was an infantry division. In this photo Karl's regiment is pulling something. In at least 3 pictures there are Stug 3 assault guns. All German infantry division had at least 10 Stugs. Here we see a Stug 3 under camouflage. But there were hundreds of Wehrmacht divisions in Russia. It would have been impossible to know which was his division, but we have been lucky. In a photo there is a truck blocked by mud. The truck has an insignia. Searching this logo, I found it's a divisional insignia of the 112 Infantry Division. So this one could be the unit of Karl. Wikipedia says that the 112 was a German infantry division that fought in the east. So this is a confirmation, I guess, right. Another proof comes from this photo, in which we see a road sign for Minsk. And during the first part of the Barbarossa operation, the 112 Division fought in Belarus. Interesting, here there is a logo of the 19th Panzer Division, one of the best German Panzer Division. In August 1941 it was near Minsk too. Now we know which was the unit of Karl, and through its photos we can follow this story. In June, Karl was sent in the east with the 112 Infantry Division, part of the Army Group Center. They were in Brok, on the Bug River in Poland. When the Barbarossa operation started, on June 22, the 112 Division remained in reserve. On July 4, it was time to march for them too. The division, again as an Oberkommando des Heeres Reserve, marched without rest day to Brobuysk in Belarus, that reached on July 12 without any significant contact with the enemy. They passed through several Russian villages. Karl took several photos of the life in Russia. This photo has been colorized with a software. Here they take water from a wheel. Behind this photo, Karl wrote, "Small farmer's room." They started to see the signs of the war. This car seems a Gas 69. On July 23, 1941, the division arrives in Starybichov, on the east bank of the Dnieper River. Karl made a photo of the Orthodox Church of Bichov, partially destroyed by the fight of the days before. This church should be in the Bichov area, but I was not able to identify where exactly it is. The photo only shows the rear of the church. On the back, Karl wrote,
"Today these churches are generally used as cinema, storage sheds, garage. Now the population got permission to restore the church."
On July 25, at Nikonovichi, Karl is battered by fire. His unit repels a Soviet counterattack with tanks which end on July 28. Here we can see a destroyed T-26E tank. On August 12, 1941, Karl's unit participates at the Battle of Zlobin. The 112 Division formed the eastern pincer of the attack. They broke through the defenses of the Soviet 21st Army and linked up with the 267th Infantry Division coming from the other way near the village of Lyushevskaya, encircling the Soviet 63 Rifle Corps. The Germans captured 78,000 prisoners, 700 guns and 144 tanks. Here we can see a German military post with artillery and tanks. He destroyed the Soviet gun, probably a 76mm. Karl took a lot of photos of the Soviet prisoners. Here there is a column of prisoners guarded with an MG over a truck. Karl was over the truck. It seems he respected the Russians. In the rear of this photo, Karl wrote,
"This is how our enemies look. Those Mongols are tall guys. One handful of rice is enough already."
One of the prisoners, this old man, was really a special character. It seems he attracted the sympathy of all of Karl's comrades. On the back of these two photos, Karl writes what the old man said.
"I was prisoner in Germany for 4 years. In Germany everything is fine, beautiful streets made of stones. Here there is nothing good. I will come back to Germany at any time. During the Great War, 14 years ago, I was prisoner in Germany. I was a coachman in Berlin. I made a great marriage, lot of schnapps, lot of cigars and lot of cakes. With Stalin, no cakes, no cigar, schnapps too expensive. Stalin shit."
So this man was captured in the First World War. In the Second, he was lucky there were not the Third. After this battle, the 112th Division marches toward east, 200 kilometers in 8 days with extremely bad road conditions. On the back of this photo, Karl wrote,
"Proven during peacetime. German transport truck can pass every obstacle because of strong engines and good driver."
On August 21, 1941, they crossed the South River and arrived at Stolbunskaya. On August 24, near Usterpie, they crossed the Iput River by a pontoon bridge. On the back of this photo, Karl wrote,
"Due to the skillful and fast work of the pioneers, we managed to reinforce the bridge on the other side of the river. The motorside parts of the leading detachment have already crossed the river."
Then the 112th Division heads toward south with some fightings. They cross the Snov River and reach Betulivka. Here they fight until 30 August to defend the river crossing. The terrain is difficult, dense vegetation of bushes. Sometimes the enemy lines are at only 25 meters. Here we see Karl's kameraden. Another photo. On the back, Karl wrote,
The thrilled soldier looked over at the command post of the company and waited for the signal of attack.
In September 1941, Karl fights in Ukraine. Turia, Snovsk, at Saltykova Divizia on the Dresna River, they repel Soviet counterattacks supported by aircraft and armored trains. Vereshok, where the enemy has heavy losses, Sivolots. After a few days of rest in Chernihiv, they are sent near Bryansk. In the fog, you can see the Cathedral of Roslavl, north of Bryansk. It was destroyed during the war. This is probably the last photo of that cathedral. At Bryansk, his division participates at the encircling of the Soviet 50th Army from September 29 to October 16. Here there are 2 Russian soldiers that surrender. On the back,
The enemy is fleeing. 2 men stayed down and waited for our advance. Now they're happy they can surrender.
in this photo probably we see captured guns. On the back of this photo,
The leading detachment had no artillery, but the enemy has artillery.
another captured gun. On the back, Karl wrote,
While the fight is still going on, the Russians turn their gun and shoot back at the fleeing commissars.
The Versnov fall in October. Here we see a Stuk 3. On the back of this photo,
The assault guns proved their worth in advanced detachment and violent inquiries. On the runaway, they were laid very quickly.
This church should be in the Bryansk area, but I didn't find it. There are soldiers. They seem Soviet prisoners. The church is in a quite large village. This church could have been destroyed during the war. Here another photo. The present church of Kvastovici has the same structure. Kvastovici is near Boyanovici, where the 112 Division closed the Bryansk encirclement, linking with the 80th Panzer Division. So I think this is Kvastovici. On October 17, the 112 crosses the Oka River south of Belev, advancing slowly through the mud. The Rasputitsa, the rain season, has begun. Here we see a Pak-36, a 37mm gun in the mud. Guderian shifts the 112 in the Odo-Krapivna area to protect the flank during the drive on Tula. Here there is a soldier standing guard. On the back of this photo, Gegenhaben is the road given.
In the evening, the village is captured. The MG provides cover while my comrade serves the houses.
On 26-30 October, they are near Ignatevo to build the bridge on the Oka River. Then, on November 6, they are deployed again near Tula at Vlask. They can move only by feet. All vehicles are stopped. Here, south of Tula, Karl shot the last two photos, showing a group of German soldiers in the snow. It's November or December 1941. The temperature is -30. The story ends here. Karl only had 60 photos, probably 5 camera rolls, 12 photos each. Which was his camera? The packaging of the photos is Agfa. So I think he had the Agfa Isolette, so common between the German soldiers that it was called the Soldatenkamera. Which was his face? At the time there were no selfies, so I think there are no photos of Karl. Perhaps Karl is this one. The soldier has something that could be a camera housing, but this is only my guess. Then Karl returned home on leave. He developed the photos and made them written in the back. The photos were developed in Germany, as we see from the stamp, probably during the war. This packaging is very old. It was used in the years 30 or 40. When he goes back to the front, probably he left the camera and the photos at home. He knew that it was no more time for photos. What happened to Karl? South of Tula, at Teploye, Karl's division had heavy losses in the fight with the 239 Siberian Rifle Division. Then he was at Stalinogorsk. He fought near the Don River. Then Karl remains on the Oka River for almost a year. July 1943, he was at Karachev, then west of Kursk, then east of Kiev, and on September 1943, he was on the Dnieper at Kanev. Very bad places to stay during the tears. If you know the German language, you can read the whole story of the 112 Infantry Division in the website lexikonwehrmacht.de. Fightings with -40 degrees, daily artillery bombings, attacks by the Soviet assault troops and T-34, retreats with 1 meter Reichsnov under the risk of encirclement, and 200 fights, snipers, marches of 70 kilometers per day. Karl really did the Russian campaign. On November 2, 1943, the 112 Division, due to the high losses, was disbanded. What was Karl's fate? I don't know. The 112 Division had 4 commanders. Friedrich Schmidt, killed in action on September 2, 1944 in Iași, Romania. Rolf Wootman surrendered to the Red Army near Königsberg in 1945 and was held in Soviet Union until 1955. Albert Neviger ended the war in Germany. Theo Helmut Lieb was captured by American troops in May 1945 in Italy. So I think Karl had a 25% chance to end the war in Germany, 25% to be captured by the Soviets, 25% to be captured by the Americans, and 25% to dying.